Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. This is African News Network in collaboration with Sokoko News Network. We greet you and we welcome you to our show today. Today's show is called The Rebirth of the Green Book. So what we are going to be doing, we are going to read some topics in the Green Book, topics that we think will be most significant to the current situation in Africa today. So please sit tight and enjoy the show. Thank you. As you are aware, the Green Book was written by President Muammar Gaddafi of Libya. So we are going to read different topics at a time. And the topic we are going to start with today is called the instrument of government. And I read. The instrument of government is the prime political problem confronting human communities. The problem of the instrument of government entails questions of the following kind. What form should the exercise of authority assume? How are societies to organize themselves politically in the modern world? Even conflict within the family is often the result of the failure to resolve the problem of authority. It has clearly become more serious with the emergence of modern societies. People today face the persistent question in new pressing ways. People today face this persistent question in new and pressing ways. Communities are exposed to the risks of uncertainty and suffer the grave consequence of wrong answers. Yet none has succeeded in answering it conclusively and democratically. The Green Book presents the ultimate solution to the problem of the proper instrument of government. All political systems in the world today are a product of the struggle for power between alternative instruments of government. The struggle may be peaceful or armed, as is evidenced among class, sects, tribes, parties, or individuals. The outcome is always the victory of a particular governing structure, be it that of an individual, group, party, or class, and the defeat of the people, the defeat of general democracy. Political struggle that results in the victory of a candidate with, for example, 51% of the votes lead to a dictatorial governing body in the guise of a false democracy. Since 49% of the electorate is ruled by an instrument of government they did not vote for, but which has been imposed upon them. Such is dictatorship. Besides the political conflict, this political conflict may produce a governing body that represents only a minority. For when votes are distributed among several candidates, though one pool more than any other, the sum of the votes received by those who receive few votes might well constitute an overwhelming majority. However, the candidate with few votes wins, and his success is regarded as legitimate and democratic. In actual fact, dictatorship is established under the cover of false democracy. This is the reality of political systems prevailing in the world today. They are dictatorial systems, and it is evident that they falsify general democracy. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the first topic in the Green Book. Uh, what it's trying to tell us is that the instrument of government, is becoming more confusing, and this democratic process that we are practicing today, that we produce our leaders, is somehow undemocratic. Because if one person wins 51% of the votes, and then he now has the power, he now has the majority according to the book to lead. But what we are forgetting to know is that 49% of the electorate did not vote for that person. So when these other parties that got percentage, like for example, the other party got like 10%, 3%, 4%, 15%, 20%, when those parties come together, to add that number is often more than the 51%. So now this person that has gained 51% of the vote, that we call a simple majority, that person is now leading majority of the people that did not vote for him. So that's why the first part of the Green Book is telling us. It's called the instrument of government. And it talks about how there was a struggle between groups, individuals, class, parties, and so on, sets, tribes, and classes, Because nowadays in Africa, for example, political parties are turned into tribe. Most people vote based on tribal line instead of ideology. Let's say, for example, if there's a particular ideology that you like, you follow that ideology. But some people don't do that these days. They always follow the tribe. Even if that person that is a leader of their tribe is incompetent, they don't care, because that person belongs to their tribe, their ethnic group. They're going to vote for that person. And that has caused more problem for us than it has created development for us. Because people just put you there because you belong to their tribe, and they don't care if you deliver or not. Okay? So that's what the Green Book is trying to tell us. And as time goes by, this series is called the Rebirth of the Green Book. So we are going to be reading topics after topics, just so that you can know what the Green Book meant and how it can be of help to Africa in her current situation. So the next topic that we are going to follow after this topic is called Parliament. That will be in the next series. In the next episode. So this is a series that we are starting now. So the first episode is about the instrument of government. Now we can all come together and analyze it, and see how it's of any help to Africa. Okay? And after that, I would like to talk about something else. Now, I would like to talk about the rise of Pan-Africanism in Africa. There's a movement going on in Kenya, and I hear people calling them Gen Z. Gen Z is not African. Gen Z belongs to the European and the Westerner. What is going on in Africa is called Pan-Africanism. Pan-Africans are taking over Africa. But because they hate us so much, the West hate us so much, they will prefer to use another name for that movement, for that uprising, than Pan-Africanism. Because they don't want to use the word Pan-Africanism. They detest us so much. They say Gen Z. No, Gen Z is not African. That's for the Westerner. That's for the European. That's not us. Whatever movement you see in Africa today is called Pan-Africans. These are Pan-Africans that are trying to follow the footsteps of their founding fathers, like Jomo Kenyatta, Kwame Nkrumah, Sekou Toure, Modibo Keita, Patrice Lumumba, Samora Michel, and so on. So they keep calling them Gen Z, Gen Z, Gen Z. No. The movement, the Pan-African movement, has nothing to do with Gen Z. Because we saw our leaders, our founding fathers, they didn't steal money from us. They didn't empty the coffer just to put it in their pocket. They didn't live a lavish lifestyle at the detriment of the majority of the people. They didn't steal our money, our natural resources. But today, what we have in Africa, these Western puppets, they are there just to take money for themselves and leave and let the people suffer to make ends meet. That's why we have a lot of Africans live in Africa, risking it all just to go and die in transit. If you look at the desert today, you see a lot of bodies in the desert. These are all African people that die in the desert because they are tired of the suffering. The struggle is real. People are dying. We don't have no potable drinking water, no roads, no electricity in Africa. If you don't have those things, you cannot have. If you don't have those basic necessities, you cannot survive as a human being. So our governments are corrupt. They have put their faith in their Western master, and that's why we are suffering in Africa. And back in 2020, we kept saying this to you guys, that we are going to liberate Africa from herself. Because the first liberation was done by our founding father. They liberated Africa from the colonial masters. Okay? They got our independence for us. And they had a structure that was built by them. But for some reason, because of greed, people, forgo those structure and started their own thing. Because everybody is concerned about their pocket. That's why we are having so many problems in Africa today. And this is why the revolution from the Pan-African is started. Okay? So, I see some of these dictators sending the troop on the street to go fight these Pan-Africans. Let me tell you something. If you send your army on the street to shoot us, that cannot intimidate us. Because in order to become a Pan-African, you have to agree to the fact that your life is no longer yours. That you can die anytime. And here is our motto. Instead of dying for nothing, we must die for something. So we say, we die for Africa. We die for our founding father. Okay? That's how we're dying. Instead of dying for nothing, we must die for something. Because we know the glorification that we get if we die for trying to realize the dream of Kwame Nkrumah, Jomo Kenyatta, Samora Michel, Patrice Lumumba, Thomas Sankara, Sekou Toure, Modibo Keita, and so on. We know the glorification that we are going to get. And at the end of the day, every human being on the face of the earth is going to die, regardless of what. We are all going to die. And if we must die, we must die for something. For something that we believe in. And what we believe in Pan-Africanism. We believe that Africa belongs to Africans, and the natural resources of Africa must be developed for the interests of Africa. There's no reason, Africa have no business being poor. There's no reason Africa should be poor. We have the gold, we have the diamond, we have the iron ore, we have everything. The West will not come and extract our natural resources and take it to their home and develop it. Okay? If we have the raw material, they want to bring in the tools. Why is it that we are only getting 20%, 30%, and they are getting the rest of the percentage? Why can't it be 50-50? Yeah, is the breadth of the Pan-African movement today. This is the reason why you see people on the street everywhere in Africa. It didn't start with Kenya. Let me remind you, it didn't start with Kenya. This thing started way back in Mali. When the people stood up against Musa Traore in Mali. That was in the 90s. 91, 92. It happened in Burkina Faso when Blaise Compaoré was the president. He was kicked out of office. This thing has been happening. It just didn't start with Kenya. This thing didn't just start with Kenya. We've been building this movement. This movement was built by our elders before us. And we just came and took over. Okay? This is not a new thing. It's been happening. The Arabs, they call it the Arab Spring. But this is Africa. This has been happening in Africa. It happened in Egypt. It happened in Libya. It happened in Tunisia. It's been happening. Now Kenya, they call it Gen Z. Come on, because you hate us so much. You hate Pan-African so much that you will give it a Western name instead of calling it a Pan-African movement. The rise of the Pan-African movement. Look, we don't have nothing against the Westerner. You see, like the far right is trying to take over the West, we are trying to take over Africa. Because we all believe, we agree that the far right agree that the West should work for the Westerner. And we, the Pan-African, believe that Africa should work for the Africans. That's it. Nothing else. We are fighting for the soul of Africa. That's it. We're not trying to kill nobody. We don't hate nobody. We're just trying to fight for the soul of Africa. You know? And if you're looking for our leaders, the Pan-African movement, our leaders are right there. If you're looking for the leader of the Pan-African movement, look for Samora Michel. Look for Jomo Kenyatta. Look for Sekou Touré. Look for Kwame Nkrumah. Look for Patrice Lumumba. Look for Thomas Sankara. Look for these people. Go to that grave and ask them why the people are standing up now. Because we've been reading about them. And we know what they wanted for Africa. Their dreams for Africa. We want to make their dream come true. That's why we are doing this. This Pan-African movement, our leaders are there. So there's no way you can penetrate us, give somebody money to say, oh, you... No. Look at PLO is in Kenya. PLO is from Kenya. He's been a Pan-African. He's been one of the biggest advocates of Pan-Africanism. And now you call it a Gen Z? Gen Z? What the heck is Gen Z? We are African. We don't know what they call Gen Z. Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, that's our show today. Keep on the fight. We stand with you guys in solidarity. Those guys that are fighting for the total liberation of Kenya, we stand with you in solidarity. And we'll continue to support you. If you need us, all you got to do, just call. We will be right there. We will cross the border from Tanzania. We will cross the border from Somalia. We will cross the border and come and join you guys. This is the movement. This movement will remain. Because until we can realize the dream of Sekou Touré, Kwame Nkrumah, Patrice Lumumba, Jomo Kenyatta, Samora Michel, Kenneth Kaunda, Julius Nyerere, until their dream can come true, Africa will never sleep. And there's no more hiding place for corrupt politicians. We said it before in 2020 that we will eviscerate every corrupt politicians in Africa. So where are we today? If you look at Guinea today, most of those corrupt politicians are in prison in Guinea. You look at Mali, most of the corrupt politicians are in prison in Mali. You look at Burkina Faso, most of the corrupt politicians are in prison. You look at Niger, most of the corrupt politicians are in prison. You look at Gabon, most of the corrupt politicians are in prison. So we will continue to fight for the soul of Africa. The dream of Kwame Nkrumah, Samora Michel, Jomo Kenyatta, Julius Nyerere, Sekou Touré, Modibo Keïta must come to pass. Long live Africa. God bless Africa. Long live Pan-Africanism. We stand with you in solidarity. Those are fighting for the liberation of Kenya. We stand with you. We support you. You are our brothers, and we are with you. Those that pass away, those that die in the course of this, we ask God to forgive your gentle soul. God bless Africa. Thank you, and thank you again.